Okay, good morning, everyone. And let me first of all introduce myself. My name is Luciano Colombo. I am the Vice Rector for Research at the University of Cagliari, the venue from which we are streaming this event. Today, I have the duty and the pleasure to address the institutional greetings of the Rector of the University of Cagliari, Professor Francesco Mola, who unfortunately cannot be present with us this morning due to some institutional commitments that seem busy right now. These greetings, I like to add to his greetings, I like to add my own ones, which are warm as well. Greetings go both to all colleagues from our university and to all colleagues from Educ Alliance universities who are connected to this event. Thank you for being here, albeit in this virtual form. But about all, thank you for your attention and commitment to this intriguing and lofty challenge that are inherent in open science and open access. Today, we are going to discuss them both from the perspective of the basic principles behind open science and from the perspective of possible practices for their implementation in real academic life. This is indeed a truly difficult challenge, but one that should not intimidate us. Rather, it should motivate us to be informed, to offer our contribution of thought and action, and to actively participate to this process. Only in this way we could aim at being aware and leading players of the scientific paradigm shift that open science and open access will entail. This is especially true for the younger colleagues among us. Open science and open access are initiatives driven by a very strong ideal commitment, which is aimed at different goals, which include, but are not limited to, transforming academic research into a fully open collaborative enterprise among scholars and among institutions, making research results fully shareable and, in fact, openly shared, making research infrastructures, namely those facilities that are used to produce scientific knowledge, more freely accessible. Furthermore, open science and open access actually want, via digital technologies, to make the full bunch of research products of any kind freely accessible to anyone, anywhere in the world. Especially for data, there is a push to define the so-called FAIR principle. And finally, the last goal is reforming the process of validation and evaluation of science, the so-called research assessment, along the direction of full transparency and based on a moderate use of bibliometric indices. Today, we are going to discuss all these issues in general terms, but we will also illustrate some open access and open science practices currently in place or being planned at the University of Cagliari. We will do so without any vanity. Rather, we will present our experience with a calm belief that we have only begun to take the first steps. Nevertheless, we will illustrate our best practices with the openness and enthusiasm of those who, like us, want to share with their peers these new perspectives on the organization of scientific research. Dutifully, I wanted to mention that this event is organized within the framework of the International Open Access Week, an annual event where this specific issue is discussed and the state of the art in the field is presented. So I'm now ending this brief greetings introduction and turn now to the technical part of the event. You will excuse me if I will still be moderating this event, but as I said at the very beginning, so far I have only been filling in for the Rector Francesco Mola. Okay. So now we shift to the technical part of the event, and which is called Open Access and Open Science at UniCA, Present Status and Perspectives, online from Cagliari University. Let me just ask a technical question here. Okay, see, this is the outline for this morning. I will provide you with a brief introduction to open science and open access. I call this brief introduction the general picture. Well, I'm going to basically stress the fact that open science and open access is nowadays a commitment and a challenge, both for us single scholars and for the institution we belong to. After this brief introduction, we have two different sessions. The first one dedicated to open access, the second one dedicated to open science. In fact, open science is a larger environment than open access, but we would like to discuss open access as a separate issue because it has its own peculiarities. Both sessions will contain two different talks. In the session one, we have a talk by Dr. Giovanna Frigimelica from the Directorate of of the University of Cagliari, which is in charge of quality and all the library setup of our university. And is titled Community Controlled Infrastructures for Open Access. And the second talk is by Dr. Cristina Reso from the Directorate for Research and Innovation of our university. The title will be Open Access Policy at the University of Cagliari through the so-called Green Road. Next, we have the second section, which is dedicated to open science. And the first talk within the second section is by Dr. Elisabetta Cagetti, once again from the Directorate for Research and Innovation of our university. The title will be UniCA Open Science Experience within the EDUC Share project. So we will put some emphasis on the kind of activity we are carrying on in this field in collaboration with our partners of the EDUC Alliance. Eventually, we will close this section two by a talk provided by Professor Sabrina Giglio from the Department of Medical Sciences. She's also the director of our Center for Research in Facilities, which is dedicated on exactly on open research infrastructures, and it will be discussed a showcase which is ongoing in our university. Finally, we will have a very short but open session of discussion, and any one of you is really welcome to raise the hand and ask questions or provide comments on what has been discussed previously. So let me open now the introduction on open science and open access, and the outline of this very brief introduction is listed at the bottom of the slide. We'll discuss the concept of openness as a new scientific paradigm. I will introduce the principles underlying open access. I will discuss possible impact of the open access in our everyday activity. And then I will overview the open access tools. So open access and open science is a scientific paradigm which is basically based on an approach, a collaborative approach among scholars and institutions, which is aimed at opening and sharing any kind of result of our research, not only publications, but data as well, and any other kind of result coming out from our activity. Another critical, as far as the important is concerned, the issue of open science is that it provides a mode of knowledge dissemination, which is basically using networked digital technologies. And finally, open science is aiming at elaborating and proposing transparent methods for validating and evaluating research, whatever kind, which means research products, which means papers, projects, and even career. So within this framework, open science is very effective in increasing collaborations among peers and among institutions. Is a tool which really endorses the reproducibility of research results and making such research results freely and openly accessible and reusable. This is especially true for what concerns data. And finally, open science is really a very demanding paradigm as far as interdisciplinary analysis, as far as scientific teaching, and as far as, once again, the reusability of scientific knowledge in a transparent way for the benefit of the society. So the principle underlying this approach to science are several. Here I just listed what, to my feeling, are the most relevant ones. And the first one is knowledge is a common good and valuable good for the society. The collaboration is not only a tool for producing better results, but the collaborations underlines the concepts of solidarity among scientists, equity, and inclusion. Open science, of course, is based on full transparency of any kind of process and inputs used for production and validation of scientific research. And since scientific research must be transparent and accessible, it's mandatory to have free of charge availability, reuse rights, and online access of any kind of research product. Everything, of course, must be underpinned by scientific rigor. In this cartoon you see on the right of the slide, I reported graphical information taken exactly from the site of the Open Access Week, where many different ads-on produced by Open Science are listed. So anyone that, for example, is publishing his or her results in open access get a very high citation rate. And it is proved, there are very quantitative analyses proving that publishing in open access results in higher citation rates. Also, Open access makes researchers from developing countries able to reach the last results and the highlights of the results. So there is some ethical issue here that is very important for me. And finally, I just focus on the last issue, which is quoted here. If science is really open and its products are really open access, then the public, anyone, could freely assess our findings. The impact of open science, once again, is really very manifold. We aim at accelerating the cognitive learning process, okay? We aim at making reusable any kind of results, not only for research, but also for teaching, which is really a very important societal goal. We foster new possibilities for interdisciplinarity and multidisciplinarity research. It should be more easy to check new results if they are shared and upholding their reproducibility. If everything is really open and freely accessible, integrity and quality of scientific communication are much more robust. And finally, all this framework is, of course, very effective in broadening of access to teaching and training resources. So this list of actions, of course, needs tools to be implemented. And I've divided the open science tools into different slides. The first one is the present one. Here I focus on open access fairness of data. The fairness of data or fair paradigming is based on the concept that research data should be by anyone findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Okay, and in order to reach this goal, scientific databases for the retrieval and the reuse of research results must be, of course, accessible. Okay, and within these fairness concepts, we do provide open access to scholarly publication. We do promote non-commercial use of scientific outcome. We do promote the creation of new open educational resources. And we realize something which is already included in the European Open Science Cloud. And we also train our researchers and technical figures supporting them to be familiar with and confident with the research data management, which is nowadays, at least here in Europe, really a very strong request for any kind of projects we are going to present. The second tool through which open science can be, in fact, implemented in practice is the open research infrastructures, which is exactly the focus of the second section of today, which is basically a new principle of federation. So laboratories must be open and the research facilities must be shared among partners. There are, of course, other, and this is the second and last part of open science tools, there are other issues that must be mentioned in this framework. The first one is research assessment. Research assessment is anything related to the acceptance and rejection of single papers on journals, to the evaluation of scientific projects submitted for funding, and even is regarding the selections of young researchers in different positions in our academic institutions and the progress of their career. So if open science criteria are in fact implemented in practice, we could aim at making evaluation process more transparent and evaluation criteria more reliable and robust. We could reduce the weight of bibliometric indicators in the research assessment and applying for real open peer review. I like to stress under this respect that our university is already a member of the recently born Coalition for Advancing Research Assessment. I like to quote this website where the coalition is presented and is documents posted as soon as they are approved by the General Assembly. And finally, I like to quote the citizen science, which is another important issue of open science. Today, we are not emphasizing this aspect, which is, however, not less important than the previous ones. Citizen science refers broadly to the participation of the general public to the scientific enterprise, so that citizens could participate either as observers and as funders, and in identifying images or analyzing data, and providing, sorry, there is a misprint here, providing data themselves. Citizen science, of course, is very closely related to the public engagement, which is that part of open science that is offering information to the general public about the most recent outcomes. So I conclude here my introduction to open science and open access. Here you can find listed the main concepts that I have been illustrating so far. So open science is a novel approach for collaboration, sharing, and dissemination of results, largely using digital technologies, with focus on reproducibility of research results and access to them without any cost and without any legal or technical barrier. So I think that I can conclude here my presentation, and we can open now session 1. Oh, should I proceed? Giovanna, maybe you can we switch now to Dr. Giovanna Frigimelica, which is a member of the Directory for Quality Library Services and Museums of our university, and she's going to tell us about community-controlled infrastructures for open access at UniCA. Just a moment, we are loading the presentation. Here we are. Here we are. Okay, Giovanna, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Professor Colombo. My name is Giovanna Frigimelica, and I work for the library system here at the University of Cagliari. And I am the director of the Biomedical Science Library. And I'm also part of the Open Access and Open Science Commission. I would like to thank everyone for being here, connected, and also Professor Colombo for enrolling me in this event. I will talk about community-controlled infrastructures for open access at our university. So I would like to start with some highlights about academic publishing, especially for profit journals. As we all well know, there are big publishers that nowadays publish half of total scholarly output. And so these publishers are very big, and it's not necessary to say the names because everyone, I think, know very well which are these publishers. And in last years, we have seen that big companies are buying up smaller ones. So let's say again, half of total scholarly output is published by just a few publishers. And revenues for publishers are very high. Also because we have noticed an increasing number of journals published per year. We are all aware of the fact of the paradigm of academic publishing and academia in general, which is publish or perish. So our professors and researchers are compelled to publish their research also for their career. So for publishers, it's for revenues are very high, and they need to publish more journals, so they have more possibilities to publish and to have revenues. And the increasing cost of subscription is every year from 5 to 8%. And this is what libraries pay to access to published journals. So we have to pay very high prices to let our professors and researchers access the full text of the research they need to. And there is another thing that I would like to stress out, which is copyright transfer. Publishers ask to authors to transfer completely the copyright, which is not necessary, but this means that the author then cannot do anything with their text published, not even give them to their students, maybe in the classrooms, or use for example, to deposit in our institutional repositories. So this is the most important things I would like to stress out in this morning about academic publishing for profit journals. I show you some images. In the first one, you can see the number of different journals in Scopus per year. As you can see, in the last years, the number has increased a lot. There was a great growth, especially in the last 40 or 20 years. So now in Scopus, we can find 25,000 journals. And these are only the journals indexed in Scopus, which means that not the complete number of journals that are published every year. And in this image, I'll show you the average price for scientific disciplines that academic libraries paid for subscription. As you know, the price for academic journal subscription is based on the number of researchers and professors and students in every university. So what we pay at the University of Cagliari is not the same that another university can pay. And as you can see, the STEM areas are very expensive. And I can assure you, we pay more than $7,276 for some subscriptions. And we have to pay this price because, of course, our researchers and professors need to access that title, not another one. And so the prices are very high every year. And what happens if one of our researchers or professors or students cannot access that article, and we are not able to find it also with our document delivery service? This is an image I found recently in a very important peer-reviewed scientific journal. As you can see, a doctor, because maybe let's say a doctor that need to write something or have to do something, need to access this article, is very important, has to pay $100 for a 24-hour access. So it's a very important price to pay to purchase, which is not a purchase, an article. So as you can see, journals are every year growing, and also prices are growing. And this system is not anymore affordable for libraries and also for the academia in general. So academic community-controlled publishing can be a valid option to serve the interests of the research community and the public. What we mean with academic community-controlled publishing, we mean preprint servers, repositories, and open publishing platforms, which use the fact that internet makes immediate knowledge sharing possible in a positive way, of course. And this means that content is free online to read for everyone, but also you can have reuse rights, which means greater openness, more collaborations, and more transparency, which is very important for the academia in general, also for researchers and for students and professors, of course. So nowadays, you can choose to publish, for example, in an open access journal. In this image, I'm showing you the number of journals listed in the directory of open access journals. There are more than 20,000 journals listed, and I can assure you that these are not predatory journals because DOAJ is very strict in controlling everything before listing on the directory. So these 20,000 journals are all peer-reviewed and serious, And most of them don't ask for APC, which is article processing charges. That means that you don't have to pay to be published in these journals, and you don't have to pay to read the text that are in the articles. So it's a win-win for the academia and for the society. Or you can choose to publish your book with an open access publisher. In this image, you can see that more than 700 publishers are listed in the directory of open access books. So a lot of publishers are able to publish your monographs, your books in an open access way. And again, you can choose to publish your research, your paper, your data also in an open access repository. In this image, in the last image I'm showing here, you can see how many repositories are listed in the directory of open access repository. And there was a great growth. There are almost 6,000 repositories in the whole world. There are both institutional or disciplinary. You can choose among 6,000, and you can see in the last 5 or 4 years there have been a growth. So open access is spreading everywhere. What about open access at the University of Cagliari? We have a new policy since last year that my colleague Cristina Arezzo will talk about later. And we have an institutional repository for the Green Road. We have incentives for open access publication, so the Gold Road. And then we have a diamond open access publishers, which is UniCA Press, which started in 2011 with the Open Journals platform. And we have now 11 active journals and 2 are forthcoming. Each journal is independent, has its own editor and editorial line, ISSN, DOA. We use OJS software, which is the most used in the community for open access publishing journals, which is independent, which is used for the peer review and dissemination process. So you can choose to publish your articles in one of these journals. And then since 2018, we have also the publishing for monographs. And since then, we have 52 publications listed also in the directory of open access books. And as you can see in this slide, we have a lot of downloads. So all over the world, everyone can access the articles and the books published by our university press, and no APC are required, so it's free for publishing and also for reading. As I said, the University of Cagliari negotiates favorable conditions for open access publishing with scientific publishers. We have 9 transformative agreements live through the Italian National Consortium Cruicare, which means that previously signed contracts with academic publishers have been transferred into read and publish licenses. That is to say that libraries, the cost of open access publication in hybrid journal is included in the subscription cost. So libraries pay for subscriptions, so for the reading part, and also to help our researchers and professors publish open access in these journals. And as you can see in the list, we have the most important academic scientific publishers like Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, and also others. Then we are also part of this consortium for open access publishing in particle physics. Thanks again with the Italian National Consortium Cruicare. And we have membership that provides APC discounts to our authors with Biomed Central, MDPI, and Bentham Science. So our professors and researchers can choose to publish open access with these options. And then we have the Green Road, which is the last but not least. In this way, our authors can continue to publish in the journal under paywall, under subscription, and then deposit the permitted version in our institutional repository, which is called IRIS. Our institutional repository uses persistent identifiers, provides high-quality article-level metadata, meets interoperability requirements and long-term preservation standards, and is indexed by search engines, ensuring maximum dissemination and visibility to your deposited materials, so you can continue to publish in the under paywall journals, but you can free the full text of your research, thanks to this repository, and help everyone access this full text. And this is the last images I would like to show. And let's say, yet it moves. I try a search in the three main databases of scholarly research. There are Scopus, Web of Science, and OpenAlex. And I tried to see how many articles, mainly articles, are listed for authors that are affiliated with the University of Cagliari in the period 2015-2022. And with some differences, but you can see that are almost 9,000 document results. And as you can see on the left, in the image on the left, the number of open access documents available is increasing, so there is a growth. So I think that we are working well, doing all these things that we are presenting to you today, and we are going better in next years. And in this last slide, I'll show you some links if you want to see more things or contact us. And I would like to thank you for the attention.
Very good. Thank you very much to Dr. Frigimelica for her contribution to this discussion today. I'm not going to open the paper for discussion because we have the discussion session at the very end of the morning. So we are now moving to the next talk, which is the second one of the session 1 on open access. The talk will be delivered by Dr. Cristina Reso from the Research and Territory Division of University of Cagliari, and it is titled UniCA Open Access Policy Through the Green Road. Cristina, please.
Thanks to Professor Colombo. Thanks, everybody. Let me start by giving you some background information. In compliance with the article number 7 of our Code of Ethics and Conduct, the University of Cagliari promotes the principle of open access as defined by the Berlin Declaration on Open Access to Knowledge in the Science and Humanities, to which UniCA adhered by signing the Messina Declaration in 2005. Further steps in our commitment to open access were in 2008, the setup of UniCA ePrints, the first digital doctoral thesis archive. Then in 2011, the implementation of UniCA Open Journals, the electronic publishing hosting service, which provides immediate open access to all of their articles. The most important step in OA was in 2015 with the implementation of UniCA Iris, the current research information system, of which I'll talk shortly after this slide. In 2018, we founded UniCA Press that publishes, distributes and promotes quality publishing products derived from research and teaching conducted by the university. In 2022, we updated the university open access policy that was firstly approved in 2015. And as my colleague said, our university recently signed several transformative agreements with the major scientific publisher in order to encourage our researchers to publish papers free of charge. As I said before, in 2015, UniCA implemented IRIS, a research information system developed by the Italian consortium CINECA in compliance with the international recommended standard on open access, notably OAI-PMI, Open Archives Initiative Protocol for Metadata Harvesting. These following are the advantages of the new system: more visibility and transparency of publications and data, reduce the duplication of data entry in diverse archives thanks to the interoperability with other external systems. It gives researchers more control over their own research profiles and output data. It guarantees quality data control thanks to a validation process on metadata and full text uploaded. And let me say, a high quality level of metadata is an essential requirement, considering that the institutional repository is the official source for all the research assessment procedures, both local and national. The indexing by the principal search engines guarantees the widest dissemination of research activities and outputs uploaded in UniCA IRIS in compliance with the first OA policy approved in 2015. UniCA IRIS represents the main instrument for the dissemination of scientific research through publication. The article number 5 of the policy establishes that the author, upon acceptance or publication of its contribution, is required to start the deposit procedure in the institutional repository in two ways: by entering all the bibliographical metadata for the retrieval and citation of the contribution itself, and by depositing the digital copy in the version permitted by the publisher for open access dissemination. The Green Road refers to open access publishing by self-archiving a version of the manuscript in a repository, eventually opening it after an embargo period if required. The author retains copyright and is permitted to put copies of the paper in an institutional or disciplinary repository or on their own website. Authors can upload in UniCA IRIS one version among the following, even more than one: the submitted version, the preprint, the author's accepted manuscript or postprint, the version of record, following the publishing agreements. A dedicated team of 11 librarians plus a coordinator support authors throughout the process and verify metadata and full text openness before public display. UniCA librarians also support authors on issues related to copyright through individual meeting or messages related to specific cases. In 2022, the University of Cagliari began a critical reflection on how to improve open access practices and to understand what efforts have to be made to give more effectiveness to OA principles. In February 2022, we found that there were more than 87,600 publications in the archive. In the period 2015-2021, almost 22,000 publications were valid for the Italian assessment exercise, the VQR, the Research Quality Assessment. More than 17,000 full text files were deposited, and 32.8% of them were open access, while 67% were restricted. In January 2022, a new Open Access Commission was appointed in UniCA with the aim to revise the existing policy document and promote open access principles and practices among our academic community. The Commission is composed of the Vice Rector for Research as chair, 3 professors representing the 3 ERC areas, and 2 administrative staff members. Starting from a deep analysis of the above-mentioned figures and of the previous policy, the OA document has been simplified and updated according to the most recent trends, recommendations, and best practices. The document was rewritten point by point by the Commission during the spring of the last year. The final document was approved in June 2022 and published in the official start page of our institutional repository. This is the table of content. The main new features of the document are the following: a more detailed and richer glossary, the clarification of the tasks of the working group composed of administrative and library staff, among which the support for authors in the management of copyrights, the systematization of tools for the implementation of open access principles with the inclusion of the university publishing house UniCA Press and the management of the UniCA Open Journals platform. The University of Cagliari aims to increase awareness among researchers about open access themes. After the issue of the new policy, the OAE working group has prepared the guidelines about Green Road to Open Access through IRIS. This document was published on the website and presented together with the new OAE policy during a public event in October 2022. In addition, in November 2022, the library staff and the Vice Rector for Research started a series of meetings at several departments in order to present the OAE policy and the new tools to all researchers. Lastly, in June 2023, UniCA gave a specific lesson about OAE and our institutional repository within a cross-curricular course for doctoral students called Scientific Research, Sources, Tools and Evaluation. 18 months after the publication of the new OAE policy, we extracted from UniCA IRIS the same data analyzed in February 2022. This table shows a comparison between these data. We can observe a considerable increase of the percentage of open access publication from 32.8% to 41.2%. This time series 2015-2021 shows the growing trend of open access publication and the decrease of the not taxable ones. We lastly united the same data into different periods, one corresponding to the last VQR3, which covered the publication from 2015 to 2019, and the other to the next VQR4, that will concern research papers published from 2020 to 2024. We can observe that the percentage of open access publication increases from 27.4% to 41.9%, which is an encouraging sign for our institution, taking into account that accessibility has been included in the VQR draft call among the evaluation criteria for publication to submit to the evaluation exercise. Thanks to the strong support offered by our librarians, we are confident that this percentage will further grow up in the next years. Next steps to further expand the visibility of our institutional archive are monitoring article process charge costs will soon be possible thanks to a new IRIS tool. Further promotion and awareness action, promoting massive use of ORCID among the researchers as a tool to increase research impact. Thank you for your attention, and these are some useful links and some special thanks to my dear colleague.
Thank you, Cristina. And we now have concluded the first session, which was devoted specifically on open access. We now are going to open the second session, which is much broader in content because open science, as you now know, is a larger framework than open access. And the first talk will be delivered by Dr. Elisabetta Cagetti from the Research and Territory Division of our university, that is going to talk us about UniCA, University of Cagliari, Open Science Experience within the EducShare project. Please.
Thanks, Professor Colombo. Good morning. And okay, today My presentation will focus on the activities the University of Cagliari, partner of the EDUC Alliance, is carrying out within the EducShare project that are supporting our institution in the development of an open science strategy. EducShare stands for European Digital University Research and Innovation with and for Society project, and is one of the first 17 European alliances project funded under the Horizon 2020 Science with and for Society 2020 call to implement the Erasmus Plus action. So EducShare represents the research innovation part of the EDUC Alliance and the aim at strengthening the research innovation dimension of the EDUC Alliance. In fact, since 2019, the European Commission has been piloting the European University Initiative under the Erasmus Plus program. And today, 41 alliances have been established of higher education institutions. And these alliances are working together to support internationalization of European higher education system, strengthen the strategic partnership of European universities, and also pursue joint educational goal and the transformation of the European universities. The EducShare Consortium is made up of 6 partners. The leading partner is the University of Rennes. Then we have the University of Paris-Nanterre, France, the University of Potsdam, Germany, the Masaryk University, Czech Republic, the Pécs University, Hungary, and of course, the University of Cagliari. And the EDUC Alliance has been refinanced for an additional 4 years, and the consortium is also being enlarged. In fact, 2 additional universities joined the alliance, and they are the University of Southeastern Norway and the University of Jaume I, Spain. So this slide shows you briefly what are the objectives of the EducShare projects. So within this project, the Alliance aims at implementing a common long-term research and innovation agenda with an open science-oriented approach. Then the Alliance will develop pilot tools and methodologies to enhance a multidisciplinary collaborative research project, also speeding up technology transfer and share of research infrastructure. And last but not least, within the Alliance, we'll promote sustainable career development in an open science-oriented approach, strengthening research career also through the human resources strategies for researchers process. So my next slide will show you what the University of Cagliari has done for entering and implementing the HRS4R process. And then another experience where we had within the project, that is the sharing of research infrastructure at the level of the EDUC Alliance. Let me introduce the human resources strategies for researchers. So the HRS4R strategy is the European Union ambition to create a single borderless market for research, innovation, and technology with the free circulation of researchers. And this process pursues action 4 of the European Era Action that aim at promoting attractive and sustainable research career for all researchers at different level of career development based on talent circulation, by favoring and supporting balanced talent circulation, interdisciplinary and intersectoral mobility across the European research area. So the process of the HRS4R support research performing organization and research funding organization in the implementation of the documents of the European Charter for Researchers and then the Code on Contacts for their recruitment. So now on, I will just refer to the document as CC. So the European Commission recognized the HR Excellence in Research Award to those institutions which align their internal policies to the content of the 40 principle of the CCs. The CC document, the first was the Commission recommendation 2005, and the 40 principles that we can divide in 4 main thematic areas. They cover the requirements and also the responsibilities and entitlements of researchers, as well as employers and funders of researchers, with the aim to achieve good working condition and also a favorable career development for researchers. In July 2023, the European Commission adopted the new proposal for a Council recommendation on European frameworks for research careers. Inside the document, you also can find a new revamped CC. In fact, the principle from 40 principle will be reduced to 20, but additional topics will be covered, such as open science, gender equality, and also the citizen science. So the University of Cagliari, thanks to the EduCshare project, along with other 2 partners that are not been labeled yet, that are the University of Paris-Nanterre and the University of Pech, within the EduCshare project, will enter the HRS4R process. Here you can see the procedure flow. And the process is a voluntary process and also is a long-term commitment for the institution that decide to enter the HRS4R process. As you can see from this charter, the process is made of 3 principal phases: initial phase, an implementation phase, and renewal phase. So after the first 3 steps, the university will go through a multiple cycle of renewal. University of Cagliari has entered the initial phase. University can enter the initial phase by submitting a commitment letter signed by the legal representative who commit the institution to pursue and to implement the 40 principle of a CEC inside the institution. Once the letter has been approved, the university will have 12 months to prepare the dossier for the application. The dossier of the application is made up of 3 mandatory documents. There are the gap analysis, the open, transparent, merit-based recruitment checklist, and the action plan. So the University of Cagliari, in order to enter the process and to work on the documents for the dossier, required dossier, has established an organizational structure that you can see from this slide. It is very important, very crucial, that the approach of the institution has a bottom-up approach. So as you can see from here, we establish a pretty large organizational structures made of 4 researchers focus group. You can see at the bottom of this picture. With this 4 researcher focus group, we are covering all the representatives of researcher from the 4 different career step of researcher according to the European competence framework for research career that describe 4 broad profiles on the researcher career development. And these researchers were nominated by the 15 research department of UniCA. At the same time, we have appointed 4 technical groups. These 4 technical groups have been organized based on the 4 thematic headings of the 40 principles of a CC. So we have appointed a technical working group on ethical and professional aspects, one on recruitment and selection, another one on working condition and social security, and the last one on training and development aspects of the career of researchers. We have an additional working group that was dedicated to the preparation of the open, transparent, merit-based recruitment checklist. So the technical working groups have worked in parallel to on the dossier documents. So they have drafted the gap analysis. So an analysis of our internal regulation in our organization compared to the 40 principle of ACC. And then after identify the gap that we need to align with, the technical working groups have worked on the action plan. We guarantee a bottom-up. We have guaranteed a bottom-up approach because the document, once drafted by the each TVG, the document was first shared in the researcher focus groups, collected the suggestions, the comments, and then submitted to approval of the steering committee. You can see from the next slide the process at the university, a summary of the main step of the human resources strategy for researchers at the University of Cagliari. So once we establish the organizational structure that I just showed you, we enter formally by submitting the commitment letter signed by the rector last November 2022. Then we organize also in several seminar workshops within the organization, the institution, in order to give evidence of the process, involve the highest number of stakeholders, researchers, faculty of our university. Then we, in 2023, the organizational structure worked on the dossier documents, gap analysis, action plan, OTMR checklist, and we are ready to submit our complete application in the first 10 days of November 2023. So, what was very useful for the University of Cagliari, especially regarding the open science, is that by the analysis of the organizational structure, we have identified several actions that will pursue the establishment of an open science strategy within the institution. As you can see, these are some of the actions that we are planning to implement in the next 3 years, and these are just a selection of the one dedicated to the open science. So we will be appointing an open science committee And this Open Science Committee will be in charge in the development and adoption of an academic open science policy. The Open Science Committee will also draft guidelines for researchers to manage and store research data in compliance with the GDPR first principles and responsible research innovation principle, and for the societal engagement. We will be organizing training activities on open science topics. And also, the university will provide support, administrative support, to researchers involved in European projects and where it is required the data management plan draft. And finally, we will organize initiatives, EMEA workshop on the thematic of results dissemination, exploitation, and also on public engagement to enhance the awareness of researchers on these topics. So the next activity that we have carried out in EduCshare project is, as I mentioned before, is a pilot project within the EDUC Alliance to share research infrastructures. So this was quite an impressive experience inside the Alliance. In fact, what we've done is first to map, first we mapped all the research infrastructure present in the EDUC Alliance at each university of the consortium. Once we have mapped all the research infrastructure, we have created a catalog of the research infrastructure and published on an open platform. The name of the platform is Open Up Platform, that all researchers from the 6 partners can consult, can check, and also they enter a pilot call to present some proposal for use the research infrastructure at another partner universities. So, in fact, we ran a pilot project with a call for proposal for research infrastructure within the Alliance. And the call was open to researchers, also to PhD candidates from the EDU consortium. The call lasted 2 months. Then, after collecting the proposal, the proposals went through first an administrative check and then a technical feasibility, followed by a peer review. Then we had the final list of projects approved, and then we launched the project, and also along with the project, the researcher mobility to use the research infrastructure within the Alliance. You can see from my next slide the results of the research infrastructure call. So quite good results. In fact, 6 different projects were approved, 3 from the University of Cagliari, moving from the home institution to the host institution of the EDUC Alliance. And as you can see from the first row, we have included in our call, approving our core project from different level of research careers. So we have several proposals approved for PhD candidate, but also for recognized researcher and leading researcher. So I leave the floor to Silvio Ferrero. There is one of the researchers that want to propose his proposal approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisabetta.
Okay, the next speaker is Professor Silvio Ferrero from our Department of Chemical and Earth Sciences, and he's reporting about his experience of sharing a research infrastructure. Please, Silvio.
Thank you very much, Professor Colombo. Okay, Hi, I'm Silvio Ferrero. So, yeah, I'm an associate professor at the Department of Chemical and Geological Science here in UniCA. And I had the pleasure to have access to the funding offered by EduCshare for the research infrastructure sharing. And in particular, the call, as was said before, came out in April 23. I applied rather quickly and without any pain through the platform that was already showed before that you can access via Open Up Education. It's a rather nice platform, I have to say. And we got the results rather fast after, a few weeks. So end of May, beginning of June, and I received this funding to be used to go to the University of Potsdam. That was my choice in order to use their infrastructures. The University of Potsdam has a very strong department of geoscience, is located in Germany near Berlin, and it is an excellent place to go and do research. I was interested in going there because of two reasons, and here I'm going to say in this slide called Why Potsdam. So first of all, there was the availability of an electron microprobe. This is a machine based on an electron gun excitation. We generate X-rays from minerals. It is ideal to analyze solids, and we can perform thousands of analyses in a very short time at very high resolution. We're talking micrometric resolutions. And beside that, we have another machine called the micro-Raman spectrometer, which is ideal to investigate fluids, and this is exactly my field of expertise. And so we went to analyze these fluid inclusions that are reported here on the bottom of this image, on the lower right, sorry. So both of these instruments are really workhorses in my field, which is petrology, so the science that studies the genesis of rocks. And both of them allow for high resolution, fast analysis on different type of materials. And one very important thing is that the Department of Geoscience in Potsdam has very good laboratories and scientists that have extensive experience in the investigation of natural rocks. So we got the money to go, we got access to the machines. What do I wanted to do? This is the project I submitted, deep fluid fluxes during mountain building processes. Fundamentally, it's rather simple. We have found bubbles of fluids inside minerals, very old. Some of them are from Scotland, 3.2 billion years old, from the Ben Strome Louisiana complex, which you can see in this nice picture on the right. And the other sample I wanted to analyze was from Calabria, so much younger, 300 million years ago. In both cases, we have some very interesting fluid inclusions that we want to analyze. Why we want to do that? In order to quantify deep fluid fluxes, and thus improving our current models from water and CO2 global cycles over the geological timescale, because we are looking at processes going from billions of years ago to merely millions years ago. In geological times, this is the other day, basically. Of course, if we want to say something about these processes, we need access to the microprobe and micro-Raman in this case. And in fact, this is why this is where the importance of an initiative such as EduCshare lies, and as well as for the research infrastructure sharing. So first of all, Potsdam is a great destination among in the alliance, because it's a great research hub with many active programs, great scientists that have large expertise in this, in pretty much any field. And moreover, these should be used as the first step to build further collaborations on international level. And in particular, Potsdam is inside itself in other networks at German level, such as the network GeoX. Through Potsdam, we could be able to access to further instruments inside Germany, for instance. Then there is also need to stress that in order to do science, we need hard data. To do hard data, we need modern labs. And these data are going to be used for sure to prepare projects for funding applications to third-party bodies. And in these, I'm referring mostly to the European Research Commission or the Ministero for University and Research here in Italy. Such projects obviously have a direct benefit for our university, in this case UniCA, but for any other university of the Alliance, in terms of both financial resources to be spent to set up for new machinery, for instance, but also, and this is the last point, expertise exchange. Obviously, each one of us has different type of expertise, and through EduShare, we can actually share these our expertise beside the machines, and we can truly promote a two-way interaction that is going to be fruitful, because it's only by merging diverse skills that we can create something that is bigger and better, if I may say so. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvio. Now we are approaching the second and the last talk of the session 2 on open science. This talk is delivered by Professor Sabrina Giglio from the Department of Medicine and the director of our high performance, high quality and open research infrastructure. Sabrina, please.
I wanted to thank Professor Colombo for the opportunity and my colleagues for the opportunity to present the Center for Research University Services in our university in the guise of an open research infrastructure. The CESAR is a core facility of the Cagliari University, structured in high-tech interdisciplinary laboratories equipped with cutting-edge instruments capable of developing and applying research. Innovation, expertise, collaboration, and education are the keywords that define the mission and the nature of the CESAR. Innovation, because the center has innovative and cutting-edge technologies available to users. Many researchers and teachers at the University of Cagliari in both the technical and also scientific areas use the technologies of our center. These technologies are so demanding on a technical and financial level that I often cannot be available in the individual teacher. The university puts them at their service, at their disposal, with a strategically winning action. In addition, we know that research often arises from interaction fostered in center and research university. The competence, because we have 10 units of technical staff with excellent professional qualification that operate at the center, who interact and collaborate with user and allow the use of the platform and these technologies. Without their very keen predisposition and competence, the use of this machine would be almost impossible and, or in any case, reduced. Here in the right, you see the initial group of with our administrative director, who was joined by 3 other technicians, expert in physics and genomics, and in the left, other administrative figures who contribute to the excellent functional management of our work. We have also collaboration and education. Collaboration because the technical staff guides research and teachers using the equipment, provide all the technical information and accompany them along the path of the scientific activity. And this is very important for the sharing about the data, the sharing the results. The CESAR can give strong support for the educational mission of our research university. We can offer educational programs for a wide variety of trainees. Indeed, for research-focused trainees, such as graduate student on the postdoctoral fellows, training on the effective use of the specific platform can aid in their degree progression and in developing of their research skills. The center offer different technologies with either methodological and scientific content. It provides them to the entire audience of users of the University of Cagliari and beyond the university's borders. The center welcomes requests from various sectors from different areas in our universities and external parties, especially in basic biomedical and clinical research, with a solid biotechnological and IT research component. And these technologies are organized in 3 large platforms, distinct by these 3 technological fields: physics, chemistry, and biomedical science facilities. The CESAR offer technologies that range enormously, including areas of biophysics, biochemistry, imaging, chemical analysis, and omic sciences such as genetics, genomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, etc. The technologies available are many and provide information at many levels of spatiotemporal resolution on biological and even non-biological systems. For example, regarding the physics facilities, we can carry out experiments, techniques, tools, support skills in experimental solid-state physics. Regarding concerning the chemistry facilities, we included nuclear magnetic resonance, X-ray diffraction for both powder and single crystal, transmission electron microscopy, laser granulometry, and the biomedical science include DNA, RNA sequencing, macroarray, droplet digital PCR, spectrometry, flow cytometry, and cell sorting. I invite everyone to visit our web page and contact us directly via email, for example, for an accurate description for all service that CESAR can offer in the areas I have just presented. For reason of time, also for not to bore you too much, contact us directly for each area that may interest you. All these facilities are interconnected with each other and are all associated with the biobank that we are setting up at the CESAR. These are high-tech facility in which we collect and store biological samples and make them available to researchers. The sample collected in the biobank, which contain both disease and population samples, including tissue, for example, tumor tissue, will be used for scientific research with the aim of helping with the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of different conditions. This type of the research service will allow users to, for example, learn more about the disease condition, identifying the factor that can favor the development, or find molecular to possible target therapy. All these goals are the projects for the different group of our research, attend to the funding, for example, derived from different projects in the last moment from the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, we can carry out the research at CESAR. Okay, the strategic internal points in CESAR activity is openness toward the outside, toward other university, research center, and the clinical world, including, for example, IRCCS, local health authorities, hospital, private companies, also non in biological, but also in chemistry, in physics, etc. In fact, we have already activated at the moment an agreement with the Florsi Group companies, a chemistry company, with the local health hospital in Cagliari. This is because there is a strong interest from outside and we want to move towards self-financing. Because in agreement with our university, we believe that it is the winning path to undertake a critical new investment and further enrich the center instruments and technology. And a clear sign from the territory politics for our activities come from the fact that our center is included among the infrastructure of regional relevance. Our technical staff makes themselves available to assist the research and the user in drafting research project, to be presented in the context of competitive tender, to finding for research this aspect in the university activity. Our technical expert can advise investigator with their experimental design, provide technical support and method documentation for the activity. The CESAR then we characterize by its interdisciplinarity and versatility can allow all researchers to carry out excellent research and at the same time collaborate with the industry to develop new diagnostic and therapeutic system. And we also believe that working in a core university facility and being ready to address technical issue and the ethical and the social issues of science, open accessibility, open science between researchers, and relation is association with the national or international institution, companies, and citizens. And thank you for your attention. We are here to invite you to visit the CESAR. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you for your overview of our CESAR research facility. So basically, we have now concluded the formal presentations that were scheduled for this morning. And we have inserted in this morning even a session 3 for a possible discussion, which is open fulfilling, of course, the principle of open science to anyone that has attended the meeting. So what I suggest is please raise your hand on your team interface if you like to raise the questions or post a comment, and then we will give you instructions how to intervene in this session. So I encourage you to raise your hand if you have questions, comments, or remarks, if you like to readdress any specific issue that we discussed so far, you like more details, as a totally open part of the event today. Is there any one? Yes, one. So please.
Okay, thank you. I am Elisabetta Marini, and thank you for the presentation, for the interesting presentation. I would like to have more information on the university policies on data sharing that I say they're an important expression of open science. This is because in practice, at least in my research file. Scientific journals request to publish and share research data, optimizing the agreement with fair data principles. Indeed, I started to publish my data sets in 2015, and using it at the time, we were using the platform UniCA ePrints. However, to my knowledge, with the advent of Iris, this is not still possible. And really, I don't know how to publish my data sets. And also the links that I published in previous articles are not functioning now. So I would like to know if there is some discussion about this, or there is some new solution that I don't know. Or if you have to use other platforms, such as, for example, Zenodo. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Going back to my introductory remarks at the very beginning of this morning, I was telling that we were going to illustrate some open access and open science practices that are currently in place. This is the case of open access, which is fully exploited in our university, or being planned. And this is exactly the case of data sharing. At present, we do not have yet any working tool for data sharing. There is, however, a commission that has been very recently created by our university. I have the role of coordinator of this commission for open science, and one of the specific topic that we started discussing just before the last summer is data sharing. I have a technical working group of 2 people working on that, one from the data science side, the other one from the genetics side. So they are both expert in producing data and in managing data. We are working hard on that. So the only comment that I can raise now is please be patient for another while, and then we will soon come to producing a document with guidelines for the University of Cagliari, even addressing the questions of data sharing. Are there other questions? If so, please raise your hand on your Teams interface, then we can detect if there are queries, comments, or remarks. They are telling me that there are no questions. I give you just a few more seconds to decide whether there are, and there is anyone that likes to raise questions or comments. It seems this is not the case. So I like to conclude this event. First of all, by attending thanking all of you for attending this meeting. In my opinion, attending this meeting is a clear sign of attention and commitment to open science and to an open access. I really encourage all of you to discuss all these topics in your research groups, in your departments, with your peers. And this is especially true for the younger colleagues that really have to face an entire scientific career with these concepts. Next, I'd like to thank all the speakers for today. So Giovanna Frigimelica, Cristina Resu, Elisabetta Cagetti, Silvio Ferrero and Sabrina Giglio for their contributions. I like also to thank for the technical support that has made these connections possible and working well. So have a nice weekend, and please be informed, stay tuned on any news about open science and open access that will be delivered by our university. Thank you and bye-bye.